Thanks for agreeing to do this with us. And could we start off by just asking kind of like what you do around here today and what you have done at St. Leo's in the past?
What I do here now, since like 94, 95, I guess, or maybe 96, I'm in charge of after-school care, but I still am responsible for the Friday school liturgies. That means I practice with the children who are reading on Thursdays. I bring them over here to church and we practice and do all that kind of stuff with the mics and everything like that. And then at the 8:15 Mass every Friday, I'm in charge of like making sure everything's running smoothly. I meet with Father, whatever the priest is, and getting the smooth flowing of the liturgy, for the entrance procession, the offertory procession, and then after the Mass is over, then I get up and I go to the podium and I do a thing where we straighten the pews, and then we kneel down and we say 3 Hail Marys for an increase in vocations to the priesthood, permanent diaconate, pray for our seminarians, pray for women who are deciding on religious life, and then we also pray for their moms and dads, their grandparents, since a lot of grandparents are helping to pay for their children to be in school here. And then we pray for themselves. And then I give them some time to quietly pray by themselves and all. And then I dismiss the whole complex, which is K through 8 here.
Okay. And when did you start teaching? When did you start teaching?
I started teaching in 1970, probably before you guys were born.
Yeah. I had a baby before I was born.
Yes.
And were you, was your first job teaching here, or were you teaching?
My first job, I was teaching in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
I taught in a school where we had 4 of every grade. And I had 62 first graders by myself in a classroom. And we had 4 of every grade, as I said, so we had 240 first graders. And the school that I was in, these children went home for lunch. So I would take 8 safeties with me, and we would cross what would be like double lanes of I-40, because it was 10 lanes of boulevard traffic in Philadelphia, to get them home at lunchtime. And then their parents, moms were still home at that point, so mom would then get them back over to school. And I would do the same thing again at dismissal time. So I taught there from 70 to 73. And then 73 to 78, I taught at St. Anne's in Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
And then 78 to 81, my dad was dying with cancer. So I asked to be closer to my family. So I went to a small town outside of Reading, Pennsylvania, called Royersford. And I was there from 78 to 81. And then the opening opened up for North Carolina again. I thought, yes, I'm going back.
Yeah.
So I came to St. Leo's, 81 to 87. And then at the end of that, I was elected quota superior in the convent.
Mm-hmm.
And so from 87 to 88, I went to a ritzy section of Philadelphia called Drexel Hill. And I did that for 1 year. And I said, this is not for me. I'm still teaching first grade, but this is not for me. So then I put in for another position, and I went to Alexandria, Virginia, and from 88 to 92, and then I came back here in 92 when it opened up again.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been here since 92.
So you work with first graders, right?
Yes.
And did you specifically ask for first grade? Like, what made you choose first graders?
So I don't know, it's just something I wanted to do. But when I was in, shall we say, training, novitiate, we were sent out our group was like, quote, shall we say, the guinea pig group. They were beginning to let 6 people go out to work on faith formation on Sundays. And I was one of those 6 that was allowed to go out. And I was working with younger children then, and I loved it then. And for some reason, I just like being with first grade. I've always been there.
Go ahead.
What are your favorite qualities about first graders? Like, what is something that just amazes you in a child of that age?
At that age, first of all, to see that how independent they can become, also how, shall I say, closed off, because they've never been allowed to interact with other things, so they're kind of shut in, very quiet, and stuff like that, and just to see them open up and blossom, and to see all that's available to them. And then when they first begin to read on their own, to see them when they pick up a reader a storybook and can actually read the words, and it's like, it just touches your heart.
So how do you, well, like when you're teaching religion to like first graders, how do you make it like connect with a child of that age? Like how do you help
Well,
them
you
learn?
have a guidebook that you follow your instructions that go with your whatever religion series you're using. And usually they start out with, God is good all the time. And you just work from that part there, the beginning part of what is it in your faith that is important to you? And it's your family, so you think about the family of Jesus. And then you think of your own family, you kind of tie it in with that. And then you establish okay, he had his apostles, his helpers. So then, we all have to be helpers to one another here. So I kind of tie it all in that way.
Do you find that it's difficult for first graders to kind of learn that when they haven't ever tried to really learn about like the Catholic faith before, or?
It might be. You're starting you're not putting expectations upon them.
Mhm.
So you just take them from where they are. Do they know, do you see your mom and dad? Do you see how much they love you? God loves you too that much, if not more. And you work from that way up.
Mhm.
And I've never had any problem with that after 45 years of teaching first grade.
What is the hardest part of religion for first graders to pick up, you would say?
10 Commandments.
Ten
And
Commandments.
also the fact that they're not the boss. God is boss. Oh. And I used to also, I gave them, they had the religion series and all like that. They had stuff that they had to study each night and read and discuss with their mom and dad. That's what I would assign. And then they'd have a religion test on Fridays. And then I'd go over with them and say, okay, you missed this one. You know the answer to this. What is it? And they could give it to me.
What is a story that has stuck with you from these first graders? Like, what is an impressionable moment that you've always kept?
Oh. Do I have to try to count up how many?
No, you just give us a few examples of your favorite
Whatever
moments.
comes to mind.
Yeah.
Oh, let me think. One of the things that always impresses me with them is that when they first come to school, and they're so nervous, and they have a locker, and they have to find all that stuff, and then they're so afraid and everything like that. They don't know anybody, and all. And then, as the year goes on, they have all these friends that, when they go to the mall, they see people in school, and they say, "Oh, there's my friend over there." And at St. Leo's, we have what we call prayer partners. Some schools call it prayer buddies and so on like that. We call it prayer partners, which are, at Leo's, it's 1st and 6th grader prayer partners, 2nd and 5th, K and 7, 3 and 8, and then pre-K and 4 are prayer partners. So they get together and they get to interact with them throughout the course of the year. Like sometimes it's like every week, sometimes it's every other week, and they get to meet new people and all. And I find that to be so rewarding because it's opening their experiences up of all these people that are in our school, and they actually then know them.
Do you prefer St. Leo's over the other places you have taught, or?
I hate to say it like this, but I used to always feel like St. Anne's in Charlotte was always that's where I wanted to be, always go back there. But now that I have been here at St. Leo's twice, I want to remain here as long as I can, unless I go there in my urn when I go back to Philadelphia. And you know what I mean when I say in the urn?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you always think that you would become a teacher after joining the sisterhood that you joined?
I never thought about anything else other than because I knew the sisters were teachers and that I had in grade school. So I always knew that that's what I was going to be. So. I'll tell you an interesting story. Last night I was over at Holy Family for the 12:30 Mass, and I happened to see a young lady that I taught in 1st grade. It happens to be Mr. Eklund's one daughter.
Oh, yeah.
I taught her in 1st grade, she and her sister. So I said, oh, yes.
Besides looking up to your teachers in grade school, that they were sisters, what other choices inspired you to become a sister?
When you think back I'm 68, so when you think back when I graduated from high school in 1968, which I graduated in 68 and I am 68, at that point, what was available for women at that time? Most women at that point were either secretaries, teachers, they got married, or they went into religious life. They were basically your options at that point in time. And I just knew, being the oldest of 9, feeling like I was a mother because I had all these younger brothers and sisters that I had to take care of and all. And it was just something I always wanted to be a sister. I always wanted to be a teacher, I wanted to be a sister, and I didn't worry about what else was going to come. So I can't say what drew me or anything like that. It was just something that I wanted to do ever since I was in 2nd grade. My 2nd grade teacher was a sister up in the Allentown area, and I was just so drawn to her all the time. So no matter where I went, in Philadelphia or Virginia, wherever, I just always knew that I wanted to become a sister. And I will tell you this, I have a blood sister who's 4 years younger than I am, who is also a sister of St. Joseph. And when she was saying to me, you know, I want to become a sister, and I said to her, you know, Margie, you ought to go out and work for a while, so like that. My father said to me, did I stop you? Don't you dare stop your sister. If that's what she wants, you let her do what she wants.
Now, sisters are becoming ever more scarce because, as you said, options have opened up a lot more for women.
Yes.
If you could stand in front of a girl, what would you tell her to inspire her to become a sister?
I would say to her, be open to what God's calling you to do. Because God only knows what it is He wants her to do. Maybe He wants this girl to be a mom. Maybe He wants her to become a member of a religious community. I mean, I don't know what God has in store for all of us. I only know what's in store for me.
Was there something specific that made you choose the Sisters of St. Joseph instead of a different order?
Yes, when I was in grade school, I had Sisters of the Immaculate Heart of Mary who were in the Westchester area, and they wore like blue habits and all. And I had them in Philadelphia, and I had them in my grade school when we moved to Hatboro, which is where my family now lived. I had them up to 8th grade, and then when I went to high school is when I met the Sisters of St. Joseph. And there was just something about the gifts, the goodness and all this I saw in the sisters who taught me, because I had Sisters of St. Joseph who taught me. I had Latin, I had French in high school, I had religion, I had, at that point it was like world history and so on like that. Math, I had the Immaculate Hearts for math, and I had the Murray and Mercy sisters for music and the fine arts and all. But it was just something that I saw with the Sisters of St. Joseph that I encountered in my high school that said, I want to be something like they are. That's what I want to do. And then when my sister said she wanted to do it, I said, Margie, are you sure? She said, yes, I want to do this. And as Mike says, again, as my father said to me, did I stop you? Don't you dare stop your sister. Let her do what she wants to do.
Besides religion, what is your favorite thing to teach first graders?
Obedience. And manners. You know? And I love teaching phonics, reading. I love teaching Palmer method handwriting. You know, slant your book. If you're left-handed, it goes, if you're left-handed, it goes this way. If you're right-handed, you put your book this way. And I taught that in first grade, cursive writing. Just to be able to see how the children are taught how to hold a pencil, to see how they master holding the pencil and forming the individual strokes, and then making these strokes become letters, and then the letters then become words in cursive writing. That's such a thrill for me, and it's also, I think, for the children to see too.
what subject is the hardest for them to pick up? Not religion, but I'm talking like cursive. Like, what do they struggle the most with?
Well, you have to think about what are the abilities of the child. I mean, I've had children who have ADHD. I've had children who were left-handed, right-handed, trying to decide which hand, and that was another thing. You have to, if they don't really know which is the right hand or left hand, which they should be writing with, you have different tasks that you can say, tie your shoes, pick up a ball on whichever hand they go to pick it up with. And, okay, you record that, and then say, okay, go over and write on the board. Whichever hand they go to use the most, that becomes their dominant hand. So that's the hand they should be using for handwriting. And then just to be able to see them, to see how they move from simple strokes to writing sentences and paragraphs and then stories. It's unbelievable. It gives you a real heart. Touches your heart. Touches my heart.
Speaking of touching your heart, what is the moment that makes you the happiest as a teacher?
Just every morning when you get up and you got a job to do.
Okay, I think we're good. We have. Okay, so awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.